did do some research on you.
Did you?
Yes, of course I did.
Okay, what did you find out?
No, you tell me. You tell me and I'll tell you if it's correct or not.
Yes.
Tell me about your business.
So,
I'm interested in GotSafe Media. I think there's something very interesting in that.
is there?
Yeah, tell me your 30-second abridged version of your career, and then tell me about GotSafe Media. What got you into that?
Originally from Brazil, came here alone.
What part of Brazil?
Minas.
Okay.
So right in the middle.
Okay.
I did move to the capital, Brasilia, and I did International Relations University, bachelor degree. And that was great. That was a mix of, worldwide vision, politics, international marketing, talking with multicultural language and understanding that the world is big but small. And I love that. And I was really good with language and I wanted to pursue that path.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak a little bit of Spanish, Portuguese, English. I did learn some French, but I stopped there.
I can understand Swedish, so I'll take that as a
Can you?
Yeah, I can. I can follow a Swedish movie.
That's a pretty hard one.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I found it easy, but anyway, yeah, carry on. Back to you.
So I chose Australia, came here, arrived in the first week, and I said, I'm never going to go back. That I knew for sure. It was in my
Came
heart.
to Perth or?
Perth.
Okay.
I went
What
to
is it about Perth that you love so much?
I went to the agency. I said, where's the least amount of Brazilians and where's the mining?
So least amount of Brazilians?
Yes.
Okay, right, interesting.
Yeah. I didn't want to speak Portuguese and I wanted to meet people from different places. I got a job just by asking people. I was working in a tapas restaurant in West Perth. I said, this is where it's happening. West Perth, this is where I'm going to be.
Mining Central?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I got a job in oil and gas.
Okay.
For Fulgro. And I told the guy, you have to hire
Fulgro
me.
survey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, you hire me. Like, you're doing all of this alone. He's like, you need to be in health and safety. And I got a job.
Oh, I see how it's all piecing together. Yeah.
So
okay.
I was in environmental, and he said, I really need someone in health and safety. And I was offshore, got bored on the environmental side, and I started, you know what, I'm going to do a health and safety. And I'm going to reach out to that guy and try to get a job. And
What got you into this? What got you into GotSafe Media? That's the thing. What was the one thing that made you go, screw it, I'm doing this?
You know what I was thinking last night? I came up and I think I said that was my children, but truthfully, when I was working, I moved to logistics after at transport, and I just didn't like my job. It's not that I didn't like the job, I didn't like the company. It wasn't inspiring.
I think everyone in business is a little bit broken mentally.
Probably.
Everybody who starts a business has this desire to pursue something beyond what you're given, in a job. Like, you're given things, you don't have that independence. You want that. There's something that says, I want to do it my way.
That's right.
Whether you're always good or not.
I started listening to Warren Buffett. I started listening to John DeMartini. I started listening to every person out there on mindset, a lot of Tony Robbins, to create what's the word? Grit, determination, because I wouldn't let go of my job. I'm sorry, I've been paid and I had a salary for 13 years. When you stop, that is addictive. That's, no matter what you tell me, it's an addiction. To be able to get rid of that, I wasn't strong enough. So what happened? I did a lot of meditation, a lot of thinking again. I was let go. I came back after.
Did you manifest a sacking, did you?
No, I manifested, please God, push me.
I'm joking.
I am very spiritual. And I said, push me. I can't do it. Push me.
So why GotSafe? Like, that's what
I have to do something that I love, that is like,
which is health and safety.
Health and safety.
Yeah.
I spent 13 years studying, working, lots of experience.
But that doesn't always align with what you love as well.
That is true. But
So
I found
clearly you did love it.
myself.
Yeah.
I found myself there.
So the bank was the initial spark, the challenges in the sector and the industry.
Yes.
Then the God-inspired push.
Yes.
The aligning with what you love and what you know.
That's right.
What's the problem that GotSafe Media solves?
The exploring communication of health and safety.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to change.
And how do you solve that uniquely?
Right now, it's one offer, one service, because I try putting in so many different ways and packaging it up, and people got confused and they think it's a nice to have. So right now, I'm on corporate videos and animation.
Okay.
That's all I'm trying to push through.
All right. Close your eyes for a second and think about where's it going? How big's it going to be? What's your dream for how? And I want you to forget there's a camera on you, and I want you to forget that more than one person might see this. Where are you going to take GotSafe Media? What's the ultimate dream for it?
GotSafe Media is a business that is putting the front line, giving frontline voices, and we're creating communication and health and safety material that makes sense to them. I'm also helping leaders, coach them on how to share their message, how to actually speak from the heart, from a place of nowhere, from a place of curiosity, from being interested in others to make sure that they can reach their own business goals. After understanding business and knowing how important it is, a return and making shareholders happy, you also have to make sure whoever is doing that for you on the front line is understanding the importance of your mission.
Okay.
So it's being a bridge between the two and really taking how we communicate today is so different than it was before. Why can't we use that in the corporate world? And I see GotSafe Media being an engine for that. We might not work with everyone. We're not for everyone. We are for business that are capable of seeing where the world is going and the transformation in communication, and want to engage and are tired and sick of disengaged crew, so many complexity with different contractors, see diversity, seeing people that can't read, can't actually understand complex procedures, processes, and we are able to pass it on through animation, through videos, to short form material for them to actually be able to do their job safely.
Now make that one sentence for me. One sentence.
We transform corporate communication into engaging animation.
Now pretend I'm a 5-year-old and explain that to me. 10-year-old. I'll double the range for you.
Have you seen, I'm sure you have, on YouTube, all those nice animation videos that you love to sit and watch forever? Guess what? Mummy does that.
That just got weird, but that's okay. All right.
It's like I got 2 boys, so...
Isn't GotSafe Media the voice of safety in business?
The voice of safety? You could call it that. It's, yes, the voice of...
As in, there is a message that needs to be communicated.
That's right.
And you are that voice. So you're helping people communicate the message of safety in business.
Absolutely.
So you're the voice of safety in business.
Absolutely.
Great. How big is it going to be revenue-wise?
I want it to be...
5 years from today. 2031. How big is it going to be?
I wanted 5 million.
5 million. Why 5 million?
Just a number I picked in my head.
How big's the market?
How big is the market?
How much money is spent on safety in your chosen market?
They spend a lot of money.
A lot of money's not a number.
But it's...
I can't find the allot button on my calculator.
No, I don't know that.
Because a lot times in orange does not equal a number.
You have so many different things. You have workers' compensation
Yeah.
you need to pay. You have training
Yeah.
you need to invest on. The market for medium-sized business,
Medium-sized clients.
medium-sized clients,
Help me understand what a medium-sized client is.
high-risk service mining clients. We're talking about manufacturing, mining services, a lot of contractors handling people. At least the expenditure has to be at least, I don't know, 1 million, 2 million.
$1 million
Yeah.
each or
each. No. I mean for the business.
Yeah. How many of those are there?
How many of those are there? I don't know how many.
These are important things to know when you're starting a business. You need to know the size of your market. Now, I'd contend that
Very good point.
you can't and you shouldn't attempt to capture more than 5% of a market. You want to capture the 5% that you can do at world's best standard. So you should be world's best for your market, because then you own that 5%. No one can get it. And I'd say pick a market that's big, because then 5% of that's also big.
That is so good. Yeah.
And then that sets what your goals are. Because you can't make a market, you're not big enough. You're not powerful enough. Google, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, all of these companies make markets. They're gigantic. And they're, at the start, you look at the start of any of those businesses, they've had this unholy advantage, which is endless amounts of capital that just get thrown at ideas. Mm-hmm. You look at the environment that Google, Facebook, all these companies live in, Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley's throw a few billion around and hopefully one of those billions will turn into a trillion. Well, that's kind of the game, yeah? And if you look at something like Warren Buffett, yes, he's a brilliant investor. Absolutely. Yes, he has a great view of the world. Warren Buffett also had a unique advantage that you don't have. So when you look at all of these guys and take that as your relativity, it's not a pure relativity. It's a conceptual relativity. It's not an actual relativity. So I'd then go, what's the actual relativity? Define my market, get a size, work out what size it is to as near a dollar as you can, and then just take 5% of it. That might be your market, because I would say to you, what if it's 50 million and you're planning for 5? Because per your manifestation thesis, which is if you think it will arrive, well, you're going to get 5 million. What if there's 50 million available to you?
Yeah,
and what if you started
true.
manifesting 50 million?
That's true.
So manifestation and science kind of conflate at some point, right? Mm-hmm. The reticular activating system of the brain forces us to focus on something, which you would call manifestation, I would call it focus. It doesn't matter. It's the same end game. If you're focusing on a $5 million business, guess what you're going to bump into?
That's what I'm going to bump into.
And there might be 50 million. And if your business is as important as being the voice of safety, well, you're robbing $45 million worth of business. Mm. You're robbing the world $45 million of the benefit of what you do. Mm. So there is a bit of an obligation that, as a business owner, you've got to find the market and then just find 5% of it.
I know. Finding the market is the biggest challenge, isn't it? In a big market.
Of course.
In mining, for example, is starting right now.
Yeah, welcome to business. It's tough. It's not an easy game. Hence, you've got to be a special kind of broken human to be in business. But welcome to the market. That's the game that you're playing. Find the market, because if you're not really clear on that, what are you doing? You're working in a market you haven't found. And then you're talking about having one service. Well, what if that one service is wrong? It's likely to be wrong unless you're really clear about
I know, it is. You're 100%. I already thought about that.
I thought I was wrong once.
You never finish or continue where you start, yeah?
Well, you can, but it's not likely.
I'm trying to find what's the pain point, what's the service.
You have to find the market first. Because how do you know the pain point of a market you haven't defined? It's like saying, I need to help people. How? How are you going to do that? You can't. Helping people is I help a defined group of people who have a specific problem, and I can give them a really good solution. You're talking about I help, I think you said medium-sized, high-risk businesses.
Yeah.
That feels really loose to me if I'm going to be direct with you. I did warn you on text I'd be direct.
Yeah. Of course.
So define your market, have a very clear idea of the size of that market, 5%. And yes, is that an arbitrary number? Of course it is. What do I base it on? Well, Apple, with all of their dominance and all of their power and all of the marketing money they spend, has about 13% of the smartphone market. And I look at that and go, if Apple can get 13% with billions of dollars of marketing,
we surely
5% is about the right number for an SME, because you don't have billions to market. You don't have all of that kind of benefit that they've got.
Exactly.
So I'd start there. What's my market? How big is that market? What does 5% resolve to? Then that's my goal.
And when you say what's my market, is looking at those service companies that would benefit from my service. Is that what you're telling me?
And it has to be articulated clearly enough. You have to imagine that you're the salesperson selling on behalf of you. You're deploying me as the salesperson. I'm not inside your brain. I haven't got that level of clarity that you do. So you need to be able to say to me, Paul, this is what a GotSafe Media client looks like. And I should be driving down the street and go, oh, that's one. Right? It should be that obvious and that palpable to an external party to you, internal to your business, your salesperson. If it's not that obvious, it's not going to be that obvious to your clients because they have to feel like they're part of the game. They have to feel like they're one of the GotSafe Media people. Does that make sense?
Why were you interested in GotSafe Media? Why do you think it's an interesting... Is it just a new take?
No, it's the alignment of safety, your passion, and a market opportunity is what I was interested in. Mm-hmm. Like there's a specific problem that can be solved with a specific tool. And that's kind of the key to business, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, business is just a way of solving problems. It's just a vehicle to solve problems. If that problem is not clear and the solution's therefore not clear, it creates a lot of drag in a business because you're just kind of yelling at people, this is what I can do. People aren't that interested in what you can do. They're interested in what problem you solve. So if you can show people what problem you solve, then that creates a bit of power. So that's what I was interested in. Now, you had some questions of me.
I did.
Why don't you fire away and I'll see how I can answer them.
So I guess we started already with one, right? And as a fresh entrepreneur coming from the corporate world, what is the most important thing I should know in the first year of starting this business? I guess you just provided me with one of the answers. Is that the most important thing?
There's no one most important thing. In actual fact, I think that's not the most important thing. That's an important thing. The most important thing to understand in business is it's hard. It's ridiculously difficult. I think the most important thing to understand in business is it's such a difficult thing. You know, like if you look at the statistics, only 1%, about 1% of people go into business. So 99% of people already have declared that they're not interested or not capable of doing it. Then if you look at the stats inside the 1% of people that start a business, 75% fail. So 0.25% of the population can do business. Now, if you look at that 0.25% or the 25% of people that start a business and don't fail in the first few years, like there's a ridiculously small proportion of those people who are making meaningful returns on it. So be prepared to work hard. And unfortunately, I don't want this to sound negative, and there's a risk it will sound negative. It is actually a positive thing. You've got to fail your way to success. Stop waking up thinking every day is going to be some magical sort of thing of success. It doesn't work like that. It's you try a thing, it fails. You stop, you reflect, you learn your lessons, you try the next thing, and you just keep on failing in a direction until all of those lessons combine to give you the answer. So the most important thing I would say is just work hard, because even that's hard. That daily failure is hard. It's taxing, it's demoralising, it's draining, it's all of these things. You've got to just basically nut up and get at it. Like, if there's a good enough problem to solve and there's enough people who've got the problem, it's your job to go and solve it. So therefore, it's your job to go and talk to them. Yeah. The most important thing in business is the preparedness to work hard. All the bullshit that you'll read and you'll see about the shortcuts and the easy path and the just get this model and dust it off, and the yammer that people give you at these, like networking events about marketing's easy, just do this, and people are easy, just lead and don't micromanage it. It's all just jibber jabber.
It is jibber jabber.
If you want to just get into the detail of business, daily hard work where you're focused on being as high quality as you possibly can be, which is just hard work.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm actually only 23. I look 74, but...
Are you 74?
No.
God, I was like, wow.
The fact that you even question that hurts my feelings. No, I'm not 74. No, yet.
51? Yeah.
Let's just leave it there.
again, I guess you made me think way beyond, from a small thinker to a big thinker. But I'm talking about now, what's the easiest way from where we are, fastest way to grow from, I don't know, 200, 300K to 1 million or to 800, to reach that growth. Because you're telling me stories that you growth to millions within 3 years. IT, I think it's pretty much a business of need. If you have a business of need, maybe you're able to grow that fast. But honestly, I can't think of how you can grow this fast nowadays.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Maybe I'm just being very conservative or inexperienced.
Well, we're all inexperienced until we're not. And every day, I still wake up completely inexperienced. I don't think there's any issues with that. Inexperience isn't the inhibitor to growth. That's not. I'd encourage you not to bring in all these false equivalences. Like IT, did you say that IT is easier to grow than?
No, it's just I'm just thinking.
Oh, and you said it's a business of need.
Of need, yeah.
No, it's not.
It's a business of. It's good to have.
How did businesses in the 1400s operate? There was no IT then. There was bits of paper, weren't there? Were there computers in the 1400s? I don't know.
No.
Right.
Yeah, of course not.
So it's not a business of need. It's solving problems. Don't think that business goes like that, up and to the right, because it just doesn't. It kind of goes in this strange upsies, downsies, exponential curve that you can never, ever pick the point. And like anything, you know the power of you've read all these books, right? What's the eighth wonder of the world? Come on,
power of compounding.
Compounding. What's the unique thing about compounding that not many other things demonstrate to you?
You have to invest a lot and then wait to time.
Right. And if you zoom in on any period of compound curve, what don't you see? Growth.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks flat all the time. It looks flat. And it's not until you look backwards that you go, oh, damn, it's grown. And it's not until you sit down and do something stupid like plot it on on a graph that you'll see. So you just have to think, first and foremost, if you want to get to a number, don't force it. Like, stop trying to force this growth, because in forcing growth, you're not going to be solving the problem that you promised to solve. And it all comes back to solving a problem. That's the easiest way to sell to people. Go and say, I think you've got this problem. Show them they've got the problem without making them feel stupid. Then say to them, okay, I can solve that problem. Here's how I solve it. And then say, here's some examples of where I've solved that problem. Now, as it relates to growth, it is a compound curve. Business grows on a compound. You look at it, like in this kind of 2-month period, you look at it and go, oh, we've only grown by $50,000. That's so bad. But then you look out 2 years from now, and each one of those tiny increments of growth continues growing on top of the other one. And at a point, it has that compound breakout. And then it's like, it's not even to the moon. It's just hard work. So to answer your question directly, what's the fastest way to grow from where you are to a number, which by your determination, by the way you asked the question, is just an arbitrary number. You said 800 or 1 million.
You have books and you have all these goals that you have to create for your business. How do you balance that by serving the client and finding that solution to achieving your business goals?
Don't they work together? You're not balancing them, because balance implies you're working against each other. If I do more of this, I have to do less of this to keep things in balance.
But then you don't pick a number.
Why not?
A financial goal number.
Why not? I would contend that these are not. Amanda, stop reading books. Well, okay, how many marathon runners run a marathon in a book? One day you have to lace up. One day you have to lace up and run. And I'll guarantee you, if you're going from 0 to marathon, the first time you run, you're not going to run a marathon at 4-minute pace. You're just not doing it.
Yeah.
You're going to run and you're going to look like a disabled person the first time you run. And you probably won't get 800 metres. And then you go out the next time and you run 1,000, maybe. Or maybe you run 600. It's the same thing. Like, stop reading books. You can't read another book about a marathon and get faster. It doesn't work like that. I use books as directional motivation and inspiration. I don't tend to read how-to books. I read books about people's stories. I read biographies. I inhale biographies because I love them, more because it just says, these people had some mad idea and chased it. It's just like, well, if they did it, I can do it. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, they're way smarter than me. I'm not even in the same universe as those people, but they took something that was not but a speck of fly poo and made the gigantic organisations in the world. They've all done it from zero. So if they've done it from zero, in some part I can do it. But I don't go and look at, Steve Jobs did this, therefore I should. Because it doesn't make sense. Steve Jobs was a horrible human to other people. Doesn't mean I'm going to be a horrible human. Steve Jobs had some obsession with you could never take the whiteboard marker off him. If you did, he would sack you. I don't want to operate like that. If someone wants the damn whiteboard marker, take it from me. I don't care. But the fastest way to grow is know what problem you're solving and solve it for enough people. That's the fastest way to grow. And just accept that if you force it, it won't grow.
Yeah.
It'll stop. You'll choke the life out of it because you're not thinking in terms of how can I serve these people. You want high profit, serve well. Add value if you want high profit. If you add value, you take a proportion of that value as your profit. The more value you add, the more profit you can make. If you want more people to buy from you, serve the existing people you're looking after really well. They might talk about you. If your marketing is very consistent with what you're looking to do. The worst thing is having marketing that says I do this and then actually do something else.
You do something.
Because that slows everything down. So maybe the better way of saying it is it's not about going faster, it's about not going slower. Going slower is customer complaints, poor quality staff. Lack of quality is what slows you down. It's not that you can make things go faster. Things will go the speed they'll go. You've just got to always aim for quality. That's what I'd say. But again, without wanting to sound like a broken record, defined market, specific problem, solve it at world class for your market. You have to remember, you live in a global market now. There was this amazing invention, the internet. The internet means you are subject to everyone on the planet prospectively being able to compete against you. So if you hear me say be world class and you think, oh, that's some highfalutin idea, I'd say that's table stakes today. If you're not world class, you're going to really struggle because someone will come along and solve that problem in a way that you're not, because you're not thinking about that, and then you don't have a business.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a brutal environment. Brutal environment. Don't think it's fun. Not fun. It's rewarding. Shouldn't be fun. Should not be fun. That's not the thing to pursue. Fun is what you do on the weekend with the kids. Business is not. Business is serious.
No, I take it very serious. Way too serious.
Good. No such thing as too serious. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. I just want to stay here and listen to you all day.
You're not allowed to.
Okay. So, an important one, hiring.
Yep.
After the admin hire, the VA, during the business growth, what's the other hire that is the most crucial one for a service business level to achieve that next level?
There's no single answer. It depends on what your plans are for that quarter.
How would you map it?
Can I be cheeky?
Yeah.
Based on what your customers need.
Oh, I like that.
My business has been very, very focused on building my group coaching program. Well, I kind of realised by, ready for it, talking to my customers, listening to them and being very, very alive to their needs, I realised that it's not about group coaching in isolation. It's actually about a community. It's a community of people. Business is lonely and hard, and you end up, like you go out to dinner with your mates and 7 of them are working in corporates and you're the 8th one, you got your own business. And what do you hear all the time? Why do you work so hard? Why don't you just take a day off? Why are you dealing with clients at 8 o'clock at night? You should tell your clients to call you tomorrow morning. They just don't get it. And that's fine. There's no issues with that. But you end up feeling a bit isolated. You feel like the freak in the pack. Well, it's nice to have people around you that also feel like freaks. It's nice to hang out with your kind. So it's become a very important thing for me to have a community. And for there to be a community, it needs to have life, which means I've got to organise events. So now, the world's
true.
least social human, I have 4 parties a year as a part of my business. 2 dinners, 2 parties. And that's to give business owners the opportunity to just be with each other, form some nice connections. Well, I can't do that. I'm pathologically not inclined to do that. I have a staff member whose job is exactly that. If you had have asked me 12 months ago, what's your next hire going to be? I would have said straight up, it's going to be a salesperson. It's not a salesperson. It's the person that runs the community for me. And she does a bang up job of that. And I feel like it's taken my business to a completely different level that I'd never even considered.
So you're finding that was a need within your community, and then from there you made that decision.
Well, I found that in business you need to feel like you're a part of a community, and as a consequence of that, I feel like I need to make my business, I have these 4 groups that I coach and I'm going to continue adding groups. There was no real connection amongst them. So make that a community and then bring that community to life. What really sheeted at home was I organised a Christmas party. Why? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Well, it was just like, let's have a Christmas party. And I stood up at the Christmas party and I gave a 10-minute speech. And I thought, I don't want to talk about business. It's bloody Christmas. Like, can we just... So I just stood up and I gave thanks to my staff. I thanked some of the people that have been involved in my business, some of my really long-standing clients. I thanked some people that had really given me some big help. But as I was having this kind of speech, I was just looking around the room and I thought, there's not a single idiot in this room. It's a community of fantastic humans. Anyway, this person sent them a text and said, once in a lifetime events. That was the text. Once in a lifetime events. She came back and said, what do you mean? I said, there's your benchmark. Once in a lifetime events. Anything that we do, our benchmark, we won't hit it, but we've got to move towards everything you do is once in a lifetime events. So we're going to Nolita restaurant on the 3rd of March. We booked the whole restaurant out. Is that once in a lifetime? No, but it's really cool to actually have a restaurant to yourself. And it's really cool to be amongst a group of nice people. So it's on the spectrum of once in a lifetime. June 30, I'm going to have a Western Hoedown end of financial year party. Why? I don't know. I've never been to a Western Hoedown. It's once in a lifetime for me. So I've got a crazy idea for the Christmas party. So she and I work really closely together to move us towards these once in a lifetime events. We're going to Bali on the 26th of March as a group of people. Is it once in a lifetime? No, but it's on that spectrum. Why am I doing all of that? Because that's the problem that these people face. Business is lonely. That's the problem. How can I solve that in my way? By putting on these events and building a community. That's how I can solve it.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what your first hire is. Your clients will know.
Yes, you're right. And I guess that's the pain, the feedback of what we're receiving in terms of services. And I'm questioning now, the hire and where we're taking the business, because that's a very good point.
And do you know something about sales? If you think about a salesperson, in a professional services business, owner-led sales, nothing gets close to it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So I would be looking at the things that you do, correlating that to the problems that your customers are experiencing, and find people who can be world-class at solving those where you're not. Because you need to winnow down your activities to, in essence, sales and leadership.
Yeah.
And get rid of everything else. But it maps back to the problem your customers are experiencing. And please don't send surveys. Please don't go and say, what problems are you solving? They don't know. You've got to go and have conversations with them about their business.
Yeah.
Go and have a conversation with somebody about their business. Don't go and say, what problems are you having? Because they'll tell you the same things that everybody knows.
Yeah.
If you go and have a really good, open-minded conversation with someone about their business, that's going to give you way, way, way greater amounts of information at much higher fidelity than if you send a survey. Because a survey will tell you precisely nothing. I think Henry Ford said it. If I asked my customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Definitely. He also said, don't forget an airplane takes off against the wind.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
We're always against the wind.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I really wanted to ask you about a pricing model design that you spoke about and you speak a lot about. And it's something that you say business owners need to have. And I don't know if you have a process, if you have a template, if you have a framework. Explain it to me. Share a little bit of how a service business should be thinking about price. But again, it makes a lot of sense if you know the market that you're going and how much they can pay. If you don't know,
it's not how much they can pay, it's how much value you add, and take a proportion of that. That's a reasonable exchange of value for money.
okay, how do you define this
Oh, I have a methodology. Go figure.
amazing amount of value?
Well, you don't have to define it. You don't have to just make a grab out of thin air. And there's a whole pile of psychology about premium pricing. I'd suggest you get your head around that, because pricing according to what the market charges, your competitors, or pricing according to what it costs you to make the service or the product, that flies in the face of what the premium brands are able to do. And those premium brands are the fastest growing, most profitable businesses on the planet. The best example I can always think of is Rolex. A Rolex watch costs about, and I'm totally guessing, somewhere between $200 and $500 for the Rolex company to make. In raw materials.
Probably.
Well, let's make it 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't think it's 1,000, but let's just call it 1,000. Well, they sell them for a minimum of 15,000. How do they come up with that number? These glasses, EssilorMittal, EssilorLuxottica, excuse me. What's in that? $2.50? It's plastic. Well, they sell them for $1,000. How?
The brand.
Well, that one got me because Jake Gyllenhaal wears those those glasses. So, who doesn't want to look like Jake Gyllenhaal? But if you think about those Louis Vuitton handbags, cost, $50 landed, $100 landed, $200 landed. They sell them for thousands of dollars and people queue up to buy them. So there is psychology around the scarcity effect, all of these things. But let's just park that, because that's just a research journey you've got to go on. I would suggest that you really research the premium brands and what they do, because it's very, very specific. In essence, they make you work to be able to buy their product. You have to prove to those companies in one way, shape or form that you're worthy of wearing their product. Now let's leave that aside. Professional services. If you don't think that applies in professional services, I don't remember the name of it. I think it's Watchell Lipley, I think is their name. I might be incorrect in that name. It's the most profitable law firm in the world. $1.2 billion of revenue, $996 million of profit. Right.
That's a lot of profit.
But as a percentage of the revenue, it's insane. Snap-on Tools, which is like the luxury tool manufacturer, they've got $4 billion of sales, $1.2 billion of profit. Their direct competitor is Stanley Black & Decker, $15.7 billion of sales, $700 million of profit. So one's working about 5 times harder to get less. So this kind of premium pricing applies across the board. But let's get to some sort of specifics. You asked about a methodology. The first thing you've got to understand is the total cost that your customer is actually incurring to solve the problem. Because everybody assumes it's just the direct cost. Like if it's a law firm, how much do you spend with other lawyers? But it's not that, because there's internal cost. There's the cost of briefing, the cost of time, there's the cost of all of these sorts of things in order to be able to either outsource or insource the service. There's the direct cost, which is the, like if you're engaging a lawyer or engaging an health and safety content, company, it's the direct cost. And then there's the indirect cost, which is all of those peripheral costs around the service that kind of form to make a total solution. Because you can't just say, I just engage a lawyer. There's all sorts of stuff around that. There's accountants, and so you got to understand that that total cost. And you've got to provide as much of that service as possible. You've got to make it as friction-free as you possibly can. So you make the briefing process very, very simple. So there's, de minimis internal cost. The direct cost doesn't really matter. And then the indirect cost, you've got to make the solution as comprehensive as possible. You don't want to just go in and do a little thing and then get out.
Yeah.
Because you'll get crunched. So that's understanding that total cost that your client is already paying but doesn't realize they're paying it. That's the starting point. Then you have to understand the cost of inaction. If you don't do this, it's going to cost you something. So like if you don't produce really compelling health and safety, or, if you don't have an excellent voice of safety in your business and people are just relying on like written procedures and processes and stuff like that, which they never look at, they never do, and someone loses an arm. Well, there's a big cost of inaction.
Yes.
If you solve this so well that the cost that they act, you're minimizing the cost of inaction. Now, I would say your price should be somewhere around the total current cost that your client is incurring, which includes internal, direct, and indirect, and then 20% of the cost of inaction. There's about your benchmark.
Okay.
That's a radically different number to just comparing you to someone else that produces video content, because that's who they'll compare you against. And unless you educate your client that you're incurring these costs and there's this potential cost, you just have to get shopped against the next guy that, I don't know, pays an animator in the Philippines or does some AI-generated content or Fiverr or Upwork, and you get minced in that competitive conversation. There's nothing you can do about it. So be alive to what the total cost is and take a reasonable, fair proportion of it, because that's about how you describe the value of what you offer in numerical terms. At some point, you can't just go there and say, we make really nice videos. Nobody cares. If you can articulate, this is actually how much it's costing you now, and if you don't do something to solve this problem, that's the cost. 20% of that plus this, there's your cost. That's how you price yourself.
Wow. I wish we had a whiteboard. Yeah, it would have been great.
I can send you a
real
document.
Numbers.
I can send you a document.
Something to think about it.
As a coach, and I'm not flexing, I'm telling you, as a one-to-one coach, if you look at global benchmarks for what coaches charge, and I don't have any view on what local coaches do or don't do, it doesn't really make any difference to me. I look at the global benchmarks. If I'm working one-to-one with a client, I'm somewhere between 4 and 6 times more expensive than the global benchmark. But I make damn well sure I add that value. Damn well sure. I work damn hard for my clients. My partner might say too hard, but, if a one-to-one client rings me at 10 o'clock, they're getting an answer. 10 o'clock at night, they're getting an answer. Because if they think it's important enough to reach out to me at 10 o'clock, I'm answering it. Now, if they abuse the privilege, I'm going to have a conversation with them. Someone sends me a text saying, what do I do about this at 10 p.m? I won't respond. And if they're abusing that privilege, I'll have that conversation. But if someone needs me at 10 o'clock or on a Sunday, they're getting that response. They're absolutely getting that response, without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's the responsibility I take on.
Adding the value. How did you learn how to add value throughout your business building?
It makes sense to me. I look for the first principles. Nobody's buying a thing. Nobody buys a thing. They've got a problem to solve. If you solve the problem, there's value in that. If you solve the problem and you provide the value, it's reasonable to take a proportion of it as your fee. Like I just thought of it as an inherently logical thing to do. I didn't think of it as anything other than that. I've always thought about things that way. Solve a problem.
So logic.
Sorry?
Very logic.
I'm a trained software engineer. It's been bashed into me since I was, I don't know, however old I was. Does that give you some thoughts about how you can reframe the way you price?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're mixing the logic with my emotional brain, my service-led, culture background that I've grew up in. It's
Well, let me tell you this. Having no money is hard to serve. Living on fumes, it's hard to serve. You can't live on fumes. You can't just make it cheap because it feels nice to do it cheap. That's not good. It's not good for the customer at the end of the day. Somebody has to make an investment and they should therefore get a good quality return on that. Otherwise, it's not a two-way street. It's got to be a two-way street. You should be motivated as much as they're motivated to extract value from whatever it is that you're offering.
Absolutely.
And if you're not getting anything out of it, like sooner or later you let the rope go and you say, well, I can't be bothered doing this, it's too much. Businesses do not fail because of some cataclysmic event that happens. Businesses fail when owners give up. Right? Well, what's the kind of downward trend on giving up? I'm just not getting a return on this time, on this effort, on this pressure, on this stress, on this demoralizing thing called business. I'm not getting a return. And you should be, you should feel good for the value you provide. The world operates in this thing called capitalism. It's just a nice measure of the quality of work you offer, is your profit at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Leave a lot to think about. One more question. Otherwise, I think we can leave our brains. My brain's gonna explode. How to productize my service business to avoid complexity and the same delivery type. It's, again, been saying that a lot. How do you avoid having to provide a proposal every time
A custom proposal.
A custom proposal every time you get a different leads. And we're talking about leads coming from premium client requirements to lower.
Tell me what premium means.
Premium means people that want to pay, they want you to solve their problem quick. Others want you to solve their problem and they don't want to pay. They want to pay, they see a certain up to a value. You're pretty much serving everyone.
By your choice.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're talking about like people are just asking you to do stuff. Why are you obligated to provide a proposal to the people that don't want to pay? Where does that obligation come into it?
I think it comes from the moment that you haven't actually filtered or
No, it's
your
actually
clients.
coming from a place of desperation. I don't think I'm going to get another lead. Best I put a proposal forward. Slowest boat home. I told you before, avoid the things that make you go slow. Do you know what makes you go slow? Serving people you can't add value to. Tell me how that relationship ends up. Oh, Amanda, it's so expensive. Oh, I'll do it, but I'll do it under duress. I'll do it, but, you better do a good job for me. I'll do it, but, you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to add this add-on and I want you to walk my dog for me and I want you to do this part and I want you to do that part. You cannot serve them. So your job is to either educate them, help that client. It's a difficult thing to do that. If somebody has enough intellectual dogma or commercial dogma to be stuck in a rut of this is how it's going to work, you ain't doing anything about that. Your best way to serve that client is say, thank you very much for the opportunity. I've really enjoyed meeting with you. And I'm just going to let you know right now, I don't think I can add value to your business. And say nothing else.
I love that. That turning that vocabulary and using just like you're adding a value.
It's not vocab, it's actually your core thought. Your core thought is I can't help you out. So you can say it in whatever way you want and don't get mistaken by the fact that I might have articulated that in a way that you like. It's not that. It comes from the core thought. I can't add value to you. I remember when I had my IT business. I went to a prospect client site and the lady was late. Now, I'm not precious to say, she's late therefore, but it was a little indicator that she didn't respect the time that I'd invested and she'd invested, just a tiny little one. And when I say late, I'm not talking like 2 minutes late, I'm talking like 30 minutes late.
Oh, 30 minutes late.
30 minutes late,
yeah, that's
right?
pretty late.
It was a long journey and I thought, well, I'm not just going to bin it for the sake of it. Maybe there's a legitimate reason. And she walked in with a coffee in hand and said, sorry, I'm late. I had to get a coffee. And because I'm a bit, belligerent, I said, well, you didn't get me one. And then anyway, we walked in and sat down and probably like question 1, 2 or 3 from her was, what's your price? And I went and shut my notepad and I said, my price is precisely 0. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I won't be putting in any proposal to you. And, like, I don't make any contentions about the sort of business you are, but you're not the sort of business that my business can add value to. So I just said to her, on that basis, I'm not going to put a proposal forward, but we've collectively allocated the time in our diaries. Why don't you ask me anything you want to ask me about your IT environment, and I'm going to see if I can help you with it and maybe point you in the right direction. But we're not the company that's going to be putting a prop forward for your IT needs. So we sat there for 20, 25 minutes, talked about this, that, and the other thing. I'm not kidding you. At the end of it, she said, can't you just put a proposal forward? And I said, no, I can't. You've already told me that price is the most important thing. There's going to come a time when I'm going to need you to invest in your IT, and you're going to refuse. And as a consequence of that, your IT won't work well, and you'll blame my staff. You'll blame my business. So I can't do it. I'm sorry. I really appreciate the time that we spent together. I wish you all the very best. If you'd like me to send you an email with 2 or 3 other providers that you can speak to, I'd be more than happy to do that. And got up and turned around and walked out. That business never struggled to grow. Never. So it's not about how you articulate it. It's your core thinking. Like, do you add value? If you add value, you've got to protect that value. I think it's very important that you learn that core philosophy, or just bake it into your brain, that you've got to protect the value that you provide. And having someone say, do it this way, like someone demanding that your arms and legs to their like specific mechanical requirements is not a good business relationship for them nor you. So don't do it. And if someone absolutely says that's how it's going to operate, add the value you can during the time you've got, turn on your heels and walk out the door. Mm-hmm. And remember, there's 3 transactions you have to make in every single transaction. Attention, time, then money. You have to add value to get someone's attention. You have to add value to get their attention. Once you do that, you have to add value if you get their time. And then you have to add value for an ongoing financial relationship. So the reason why I did that with that lady is because she'd allocated time. She'd made an investment of time. It's on me to provide value for that time. So I look at that as a very, basic transactional sort of philosophy. For attention, you have to add value. For time, you have to add value. For an ongoing financial relationship, money, you have to add value. So you're always adding value. You're always adding value. That you're not going to transact commercially doesn't mean you should be petulant and walk out the door. That's dumb. People talk about that stuff. You get a bad reputation. What's the point?
Yeah, I agree. I see that.
Now, what question was it? Productizing a service, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you productize a service? The first thing you do is you pick your market, work out what 5% is, see if that's a viable number. If your market is X and 5% of that ends up being an annual revenue of $50, it's probably not a viable market, right? So that's the first thing you got to do. Second thing you got to do is understand the problem. What's the problem you're solving? You've got to be able to articulate it. At the start we spoke about it and you had a very grand sort of vision, which I really love. I think that's fantastic. It's very wordy. And I said, so does this summarize to you're the voice of safety? And you said, oh yeah, that's it. So the voice of safety, if you invert that, it's solving a problem. Now for me, what are the 4 core problems in business? I've not yet found another one. I'd love to find another one. Secretly, I wouldn't. There's 4 core problems I solve. One is it's really damn hard to build a great team. 2, it's really damn hard to make your business perform. 3, it's hard to win without discounting. And 4, it's hard to continue to grow. So what are the 4 core pillars of my solution? People. I'll show people how to build a team of A players. Mm-hmm. Performance. I'll show you how to make your business perform predictably. Strategy. I'll show you how to win without actually having to discount. And growth. I'll show you how to grow your business on a really consistent fashion. There's the core of what I do. The next thing I want to know is what are the symptoms that a client is showing me that indicates to me that a client's suffering in one of those 4 pillars. What do those symptoms look like? You think you go to a doctor's looking for what? Symptoms. How do they diagnose? They diagnose through the filter of symptoms, yeah? So I want to know what those symptoms are. I've boiled that down to 8 symptoms. I can pick those problems by virtue of the existence of those symptoms, and then I solve those problems just with some systems. Like, what are the things that you do? The methods that you need to implement in your business to solve people. Like, if you had a people problem in your business, just picking on that one thing, I would know it because the owner's multitasking. They're running around all day with their hair on fire. I'd also know it if they were worried about losing a key staff member. They were over-relying on a key staff member. Those 2 symptoms, pretty high likelihood there's a people problem in the business. How do I solve that? I show people how to recruit, I show people how to manage, and I show people how to lead. I give them really clear methods. I give them templates and tools and teach and train and all that sort of stuff. There's my product. The product is the combination of the problem, the symptoms, and the solve. That's how I do it. Every client I work with, I call that a pathfinder. Every client I work with, I help them build their own pathfinder. Help them find what those 4 problems are. Help them identify those symptoms. And then say, right, now map your service offering around those things.
Understand, okay.
Because then, like, if I went to somebody and they said, like I had a client ring me up the other day and said, I've got a friend who's really struggling with recruitment. On a one-off basis, could you help them do some recruitment? I'm not a recruitment company. I said, I'll help them with the recruitment. It's not what I do. And they said, well, how much will that cost them? I said, a coffee? I'll be okay with a coffee. Oh, like, what are you going to give them? 5 minutes? I said, I'll work with them the whole way through. If they've got a recruitment problem, they need help. They need some help with that, right? So I'm not going to charge them for that. I don't know what to charge them. I'm not going to sit there and spend any time of my life magicking up some bizarre recruitment fee that somebody needs some help with. It's bizarre. Often I get people saying, can you come and attend our strategy day? Which is more often than not a planning day, but like forgetting all of that business nerdery. And people say, how much are you going to charge us for it? A couple of sandwiches. It's fine for me. If I've got the time, I'll dedicate the time. If I don't, I won't. Like, there's no charging model for that. And the reason I don't charge for that is I don't want people saying, Paul did a really good job with the recruitment, you should get him involved. Then I've got 7 conversations I've got to manage. I don't want someone saying, Paul runs strategy days really well, you should get him involved in your strategy day. It's not what I do. So I ain't going to charge for it. I don't need to. I don't want to. So I do it if I can add value because someone's donating their time to me. If I can't add value, I'll say, I don't really know about that. My caveat on every one of those conversations is this. The most I'll charge you is a cup of coffee or a sandwich. You got to understand if a client needs me, you're getting bumped to the bottom of the list. I'll reschedule a meeting. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. So productizing your business, the starting philosophy, it's not your ability to productize it. It's your ability to be disciplined in a very, very narrow part of the world. Mm-hmm. Because so you think about all the work. There is months and months of work in building a pathfinder, that productization. Months. You want to go and reinvest that time because some other person says, can you spin up some new random thing for me? It doesn't work like that. So you need to be very, very certain, market, 5%, big enough, passionate enough, can solve it well, all that stuff. And all you're doing when you're productizing is taking that solution to that problem and being very clear around it. I wish I had my Pathfinder handy because I can share. I turned the process of productizing into a service that I offer. It just forms a part of my broader service. How's your head, Amanda? You look like you got a million thoughts going on.
I do. And you know what? I do. And I'm a curious person. I like to see the whole process in my head. Mm-hmm. Like I'm visual, right? Mm-hmm. So can you walk me your own real case study from the start to finish with
my business or
with your business, with someone that has a service that you have helped?
Oh, right. From
the beginning to the end and the outcome.
No, because I don't want to talk about clients' private business in a set. That's not reasonable, and I can't do that. I can talk about my business.
Okay.
And I think that's a reasonable thing to do. So
I'm just trying to picture how you walk. How does it happen?
Well, this is where the spiritual side of me kicks in.
Okay.
My day to day is super left brain, like it's bang, 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 like that. Solving problems, very, very left brain, very, very structured. I have to be tight with my timing, all of that stuff. I don't have time to think about creativity in that moment. I went to Rottnest for a few days recently and literally couldn't do anything but sit around the pool. And in those moments, if I've got a problem to solve, I kind of sit with the problem. I don't even force the thought. I let the thought come to me. So the process of creating this Pathfinder model, which is my productization, happened in that room just there, which is my lounge room. I don't watch any TV. I'm not interested in, I don't go to movies or anything like that. Laid on the sofa and stared at the ceiling and just thought about my clients. Literally just thought about what problems are they struggling with. And I thought, well, it's not just one problem. And, like a big problem always breaks down, to be the voice of safety, that would break down into 4 really, really commonly experienced problems. So I think about the conversations I'm having with people. And what do the conversations sound like? It's always the same. Oh, the staff are stupid. Or, why can't they just use common sense? You hear all these sorts of things. So it's like, okay, well, that's a problem. People's a problem in a business. You need people for a business. And then the next one is, oh, damn, cash flow's tight. All that sort of stuff. You hear that all the time. Cash flow's tight. I'm stressed about money. And all of these, client X hasn't paid me. Another one you hear a lot of is, oh, we write plans, it just never happens. Stuff gets in the way. What does that sound like? It's like performance. You've got to make your business perform. So that's how people came up. That's how performance came up. Then it was, what's the next thing you hear all the time? All the time you hear, oh, I presented to this client and the first thing they did was chip me. They wanted me to discount. I'm worried, I can't put this proposal in because company X charges less. I've got to match them. Like you'd hear that a lot. So I just think about these conversations. In other words, I didn't survey people. I thought about those conversations. You will have 1,000 conversations with your clients, lay around thinking about that. And the final one was growth. And growth was like literally, we're just not winning any new deals. We're not winning any new deals. You hear that all the time. Well, it's hard to win deals. Well, my salespeople are crap. They don't know what they're doing. You hear all these stories. I just kind of went, well, yep, that all kind of buckets up into these 4 things. So, I wrote those down and, I mucked around with it in my head. I use Apple Notes. I'd literally have my phone here. I'd be like that. Put it down. That's my process. Then it's like, turn those conversations into symptoms. I just tried to work out the more common ones in my head. It's multitasking. It's over-relying on key people. It's that you don't know what profit your business is going to produce. It's you don't have enough cash to make investments in the thing. It's you're winning on price, not on value. It's that you don't have enough inbound leads. It's that the growth has slowed down and that you're not getting any referral business. Like they were the symptoms. I did the same process. And then I just kind of mapped out all the shit that I'm really good at. And I attached it to one of those 4. And then I went, what are the 3 most fundamental things to solve the people problem? Like if you recruited brilliantly, if you managed really precisely, and if you led in a really effective way, you're going to have a pretty good team. It's like, okay, brilliant. And I can do those 3 things really well. Or, the performance thing. You need to have a really high quality model, a forecasting model. You need a great plan and you need to execute. I can do those things really well. I can teach people those things. That's how I formulated the whole thing. And then I added a layer to the onion. And that is like, you can build those systems into your business, but you can really get the most out of them by being a highly effective business owner, personal business owner. So I created a product, if you like, or I just added to my product. I have one product. I added to my product, which is this meta skills. I call them meta skills, which is things like personal goal setting, personal execution, resilience, winning mindset, influence, negotiation, meeting management, conflict management, problem solving, learning and knowledge acquisition, critical thinking, decision making. I got them. It's the first time I've ever got all 12 in one hit, by the way. And I created that as an addition to my product. And then I thought, well, damn, these are really difficult to learn in the day by day. So I go off each year, twice a year, off-site and take everyone off-site. And we do an immersive boot camp twice a year where you learn those meta skills. So that's how my product evolved. How did it evolve? Laying on the sofa, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the conversations I'd had with my clients and putting them into kind of specific buckets on a diagram.
Yeah.
And I do the same with my clients. You know, I have a client, I will not say who it is. I have a client who could not sell their service for more than $2,000. Since they built their Pathfinder, their biggest deal is $107,000 and their average deal is about 30 grand now. So by doing that, a 15x increase in their ability to charge, what they offer as a service isn't that different. 15 times the price. Because the value's there. They were just never really able to articulate how they solve the problem and then how that kind of marries up to a benefit in their business. 15x.
Yeah.
All that remaining money is profit.
That's an incredible story. It's what I wanted to understand, picture, and hear.
Yes, and it's important for you
Is
to
it
understand.
possible? It's like that, knowing that possibility.
How many examples globally would you like me to rattle off?
Dream big.
Louis Vuitton, Rolex, Ferrari, Porsche, BMW, Brioni suits, and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, I could bore you for hours with people who can charge a premium price in services, particularly business to business. In consumer, it's 90% brand. Like you present a really beautiful brand and you like you look at a Rolex ad, what are they doing? Sitting on yachts. They're never sitting, they're never sitting at home in their 4x2 in, the outsticks of Perth. They're sitting on a yacht. They look successful. They're always good-looking people. Like they frame the watch around success, right? That's what consumer brands do. In business to business, particularly professional services, which are a bit indiscreet. Like it's difficult to explain it. A hammer is a hammer, right? But the voice of safety could be anything. It's up to their imagination. So you've got to be able to articulate what you do, what problem you solve and how do you solve it, the method. And then you've got to frame the pricing specifically around something that ties back to numbers, because otherwise you'll get minced with, nah, mate, I can get that done on Upwork for $7.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in that game.
Absolutely.
So is it possible?
Absolutely.
I would lay my life on the fact it's possible. And I would also say it's mandatory. Because if you want a low-cost alternative, go and try and build your business to the scale of Walmart or Amazon or Bunnings. I don't think that's the more efficient path. I think the more efficient path is work out how to charge a premium by adding crazy value and taking a proportion of that.
Understand. Let's talk about, I guess, financial forecasting. That was two. I actually got three, but let's.
You can ask three if you want.
Yeah. So when should a service business start doing financial forecasting and have in mind the challenge with lead and sales generation? Financial forecasting, to me, as I learned, is just so crucial. How do you play with the unknown?
Minimize the variables and minimize the variability of the variables. Build a model that only relies on one, two, or three things, right? And then minimize the variability of those three things. Like work out what's the one that's going to actually move the needle the most in this coming 90 days and work super hard on that. That's how you would minimize variability, by working super hard on that one thing, but knowing that the three things are the things that move the business. Because if you have a financial forecast that's got 35 variables and you're going to try and move 5 in a quarter, how are you going to do that? You can't. And remember, in the execution phase of a business, it's just 90-day blocks. Like you're sprinting at something for 90 days. So if you build your forecast, build it well. I don't even call them forecasts. I call them profit predictors. Because I want to know what's the profit going to be if I do this one thing. From that, you build a plan. From that, you execute. I see more people plan holidays more than they plan their businesses. It's crazy. I just don't get it. Like their holidays are so planned and so nailed up with everything. And then you say, what's happening in your business? Oh, I hope some leads come in. Okay, what's the plan to get some leads in? Oh, I might do some socials. Like you see this kind of conversations, it's like, that's not going to get you home. So by minimizing the variability, minimize the amount of variables, minimize the variability of the variables. It's like pick the one thing and work out, do the plan, work out what you need to do in order to move that and then execute on that. That's the thing to do. Your question was, when should you start forecasting? I think you need to forget this idea in a services business. In a business, you build a forecast modelling system at day zero. And then you keep on doing that forever. Because run the counterfactual. Why would you not? It seems a bit like, do you get in your vehicle and drive it if all the dashboard instruments are broken?
No.
And if all the dashboard instruments were broken, how would you drive that vehicle? Really, really slowly and very, very
Really
cautiously.
bad. Yeah.
Right, because it's the same thing when the traffic lights don't work. When they're orange, you don't just close your eyes and YOLO it. You don't just go drive through. What do? Everyone drives through the intersection super slowly, and they're checking and checking and checking and checking. If the light's green, because the instruments, the light poles are saying it's green, it's safe to go, you just sail through it. So not having a forecast does what? Slows you down, because you're not certain about what's happening in the business. So you don't have 700 dials in the dashboard of your car. You've got, what are the key ones? Fuel, engine temperature. I bet you don't look at the engine temperature. Speed and rev counter. I bet you don't look at the rev counter.
I do look at the engine
Okay.
temperature, because I've been in trouble because of it.
Okay, well, so then what have we got? 5 instruments in the dashboard. The ones that make the most difference are speed and engine speed, rev counter. So, and that's what you tend to plan your trip based on that. And if you are a bit like worried, if the fuel light came on, what do? You drive really slowly. And you really feather the throttle, right? Like, you slow down, you build a new plan. Well, business is no different. If you don't have that like instrument binnacle in front of you all the time, it's pretty weird. But people drive their business without that. Because I say to people all the time, how are you going to make the money that you want to make? Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I'll just do more. I said, but why do more? Maybe it's do less for more. And I don't know the answer to that. Like, how does it all play together? People haven't thought about it. So day zero and every day. But you should at least look at your forecast modelling tool, your profit predictor, and check that against your profit and loss statement, and check that against your balance sheet every month. Because the profit and loss and balance sheet are the reality in your business. The profit predictor is just a kind of an indicator. These two things got to marry up. If they're not, you change this, because you can't change the P&L and balance sheet. Did that answer it?
Yes, you did.
You look like the cogs are spinning.
Yes, they are. They are. They are. Okay. Focusing business. How do you know this business idea is the right one to pursue?
Ready for it? Is there a market that's got a problem? What's the size of that market? What does 5% of that look like? That's probably directionally the right business to pursue. If there was a market that you narrowed down that had a problem and 5% of that was $50 of revenue, it's not the right place to focus. It's not. And then you need to add to that things like, where you've got a unique ability to solve the problem. Because if you think about strategy, where do you play? How do you win? Where do you play as market or game selection? How do you win? What's the unique and valuable offer that you have to solve the problem that this market has? Well, let's talk about blue ocean strategy and red ocean strategy and this and that and all the other things. Fine. It's a nice way of describing what is really basic. Where do you play? How do you win? Where do you play as market selection? Is there a big enough market that has the problem? How do you win? Can you solve that problem in a unique and valuable way? And if you can do those things, you're about right. And then how do you know comprehensively? Go talk to everyone in the market. Go present this offer to them all. That's called marketing and sales. Go do it. Stop mucking around sitting in a petri dish, thinking I'll redefine something. All the knowledge is in the market. There's no knowledge that you're going to have that you can add to that market. All the knowledge is in the market. If you can't get to it, you've either got a communication problem, you've got a solution problem, as in your solution's not good enough, or you haven't defined the market very well. It becomes kind of easy to unpick the problem of the business isn't growing. Now, there was a second part of that question that I forgot.
No, that was it. How do you know it's the right idea? That's how.
Idea is a bit too broad a term for me. It's how do you know you can build a business from your hypothesis? Your hypothesis is that safety doesn't have a good quality voice. So market size, problem defined, 5% is the solution unique and valuable. I'd put all of those things together. Then I'd go and talk to the market. And it's in talking to a market that you'll find. And the weird thing is, the more you talk to the market, the more correct your hypothesis will become. Do you know why? You take the feedback, you modify the product slightly, the solution, ever so slightly, until there is this amazing thing called product market fit. But until you've talked to the market lots, which is right back to the original question you asked, and I said hard work. Hard work is not just the volume and intensity of work, it's the emotions underneath it. You're going to be demoralized a lot. You're going to be told no 100 times more than you'll be told yes. If you can just work your way through that, you'll get and take an open mind and an egoless approach to it. You're there to serve, you're there to help someone solve a problem. You'll get so much feedback which you can calibrate your solution, and eventually you'll make your solution right. You'll make the idea right. That's what I'd be doing. That's what I do. In my market, there's 22,052 businesses in Perth that suit my market. 5% of those would be the ones I can add value to. The ones I can add value to, they're ambitious, they're smart, they're driven, and they're low ego. 5%. The other 95, it's not that I don't care about them. I can't add value. I care about them. And because I can't add value to them, they shouldn't come on the journey because I won't be able to help them. If somebody's not ambitious, if somebody says, I want my business to stay exactly where it is today, like in 5 years' time, I want it to be exactly where it is today. Well, don't invest any money with me because I'm just going to annoy you. I'll be the one saying, no, you've got to change. You've got to do something. If they don't want to do that, well, it's not for me to say that's wrong, right, or indifferent. That's their determination. It's then my determination to say, I can't add value to you. So don't.
That's powerful.
What's your last question? I'm intrigued to get to this one.
Yes, okay. How do I become Tracy? You like that question, did you? You spoke about her elevated leadership on an Instagram post.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Can we all be born as a Tracy, or you have to become a Tracy?
I would encourage you to become an Amanda, because I've encouraged Tracy in the time I've been working with her to become a Tracy. I didn't say to Tracy, you should become a Paul. God, the world doesn't need that. Another one of me. It's like, be you, not be Tracy. Well, I don't understand why you would want to be a Tracy, but I understand, I think, what you're saying, which is you've heard some things I've said, you've seen how she's operated, and you find that inspiring.
Exactly.
She's an extraordinarily inspiring human being. Notwithstanding that, she holds a unique place on the planet. There's only one Tracy. I don't think you'd want to copy her. It's more, think about the things that she does that you may or may not know. Think about the things that she does and consider, should I be doing similar things to that? I can tell you the really basic things she does. She works super hard. I know one other client who works as hard as her, and it's mind-bogglingly motivational for me. She's passionate about what she does, and it's not branding and graphic design. Her whole passion, and she's really completely changed the trajectory of my business and therefore my life, because she always used to say to me, you've got to get out of the shadows. You've got to get out of the shadows. You're just in the shadows all the time. And if I'm honest, it used to frustrate me that she'd say that. I'm very no, this is what I'm doing, and in shadows, out of shadows, I don't care. 3 years ago, the last thing on earth I would have considered is having these things and those things in my face and me talking publicly. I would not have thought about it. It was her that encouraged me to do that. That is born of her passion. She made no extra money by pushing me to do that, but I see the way she works with her clients. And it's, of course, you've got to build a great brand for somebody. I guess that's table stakes. That's the activities they do. The problem that Tracy solves is getting people out of the shadows. What's the essence of Amanda? And I think you should do that to the extent that somebody else sits here and say, how can I be Amanda? You cosplaying or doing bad karaoke Tracy is not an attractive thing. I've got to be honest. It's like, well, that's a strange thing. Where's the Amanda I know? It's put the Amanda that Amanda knows, or maybe Amanda doesn't know. So ask people what's unique about you, and put that out in the world.
I think it was more about her characteristics and qualities. that one need to have, or one are born with, or one develop throughout their life to become worthy of, this is how it is, this is how she does it, this is how she inspired me.
How does she inspire you?
No, I think your post inspired me.
Oh, okay.
Of how you were speaking about that, and what are the qualities of that sort of personal, or that leadership.
I think the thing I most admire about Tracy, she's much more a natural inspirer of people than I am. I motivate, I don't inspire. And that's cool. I actually like that. And I motivate by agitating. I'll ask questions that not many people will ask. I'll make comments that not many people will ask, because that's what, that's how my brain works, and that's how I'll operate. The Metaskills boot camps, a lot of intensity for me. I just like rinse myself over a very short period of time. And those boot camps, because you're looking at you as a person, you're not thinking about your business. It's quite a personal thing. There's a lot of emotion. Anyway, I deliberately don't participate. So in the mornings, I try and get everyone moving. So they might go for a run, or they might do some yoga, or do some mindfulness or whatever. I don't participate in those. I go off and I just think about the people that are at the boot camp. And as I wrap it up, I like to give an individualized thank you. So I'll describe to that person something about them that I see in them. And in a lot of instances, it's stuff they don't see in themselves. Honestly, I had 30 people at the last boot camp. Notwithstanding, and you're not allowed to tease me, I cry my way through this because I'm so exhausted, but it's very, very meaningful for me. Every single person in that room, I can describe something unique about them that inspires and motivates me. And, I've met and interacted with, I don't know, across time, maybe thousands of business owners. And, you might look at, one of my clients, Matt, he is single-handedly the most stoic human being I've ever met in my life. He would not wrong someone even if it damaged him. He just will not do it. He does not have doing the wrong thing in him. In his business, he had a delivery that was late. He got on a plane and hand delivered it. Who does that? Most people would say, sorry, it's late. Freight services are this and that and the other thing. He took this on as his luggage. Now, if you met Matt would think of himself, I don't know anyone that thinks of this of Matt, but Matt would think of himself as he's just a guy that fades into the background and nobody really thinks about him. Matt's an unbelievably inspiring guy. So I guess my point is there's 1, 2, or 3 things about you that are unique about you, and off camera I could probably describe them to you, but I'd really lean in on that. Lean in on what makes you, you, and what inspires people from your actions or your thoughts or your ideas. Like double down, triple down, quadruple down on that every day to the extent that you could, because you never want to be a bad karaoke act.
For sure.
We've covered a huge range of business today.
We have.
And I'm certain you'll have 1,000,001 thoughts. I'm a guy that loves people taking action. So from our conversation today, and feel free to take some time to think, what's the 1 or 2, I'm giving you 2 maximum, 1 or 2 things you think you can go away from today's session and start implementing in your business?
Number 1 is the market, for sure.
Thank you.
For GotSafe Media, defining that well, and also for Got Creative. Number 2 is having the conversation about focus. Where do we put our focus? Where it's worth it. There's a lot of context behind the businesses and where we want to take. It is really hard, but we don't have the energy and the mental capacity to focus on 3 different things to push through. So it's trying to work that out, and actually also having faith. To me, that's key.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
Of things I'd like you to think about. If you want to build a business to $1 million rapidly, plan a $10 million business. And when you get to $1 million, plan a $30 million business. You've always got to have in your mind, what does it look like there? Whatever's on the horizon illuminates what's on your feet, what's at your feet. If at the horizon is $1 million business, you're never going to be in a hurry. You're always going to have these opportunities for little distractions and things to pop up. If a $10 million business is on the horizon, you ain't got time. You haven't got the luxury of choice. You've got the mandatory obligation of focus and dedication and attention, and you will see so much more. I always hear people talk about a big opportunity, and it's like it's a big opportunity just beyond their fingertips. Always. It's always the same. And then you say, but what's at your feet? What's actually at your feet within your grasp? And it's like, it's boring, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. And it's massive. Always it's massive. Because the best kind of businesses are boring businesses with established needs. Fancy businesses, I don't know, they're few and far between for me. I'm a great believer in boring businesses with established needs. If you want to build GotSafe Media into a $1 million business quickly, sit down and plan for a $10 million business and get at it. Get at it. I just don't see any other way you can do it. And if it fails, so what? Does it really matter if it fails?
Well, failure is failure, isn't it? Turning that into something that you can run with.
Well, it's not probably going to kill you. So that's okay. You can stand up the next day and get over failure. I've got over failure. It was hard. It was crippling, but I've got over it. So if it fails, it fails. It doesn't mean you failed. It means it failed. You just have to get on with it. Babies are born perfect, and all you do is spend 20 years ruining them. You just try not to ruin them too much, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's kind of that. Business, I guess, conceptually, the idea is always perfect, and all you do is just spend, 10 or 20 years ruining it. Just try not to ruin it too much. But, with your kids, ruin the kids. I say that as a bit of an absurd thing. What are you doing? Like, you're trying to deploy upon the planet upright adults who are net contributors to society and good people. You're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. But if that's the end game, that's the end game. In business, you're trying to deploy upon the planet a vehicle that solves a problem and tries to add to the world, not just kind of scrape money out of the world, because sooner or later the world will react to both of those scenarios. That to me is the ultimate failure. Like, if you build something that adds real value and solves a real problem, you'll make a lot of money, and good on you. That's what you should be doing, making as much money as you can. There's no problems with that. You can take that money out of your business and go and give it to the cat's home, or build a church, or I don't know, whatever you choose to do, buy a big boat. That's your choice. That is the beauty of capitalism. So we'll come to the end of your questions.
Yes, we have.
I think it's important for me to say thanks. I really appreciate you coming along today, being really open, but being really inquisitive and very curious. I know we covered a whole big range of stuff today, like a massive range of things.
Massive.
But to me, that's kind of exciting. I'm a real business nerd. I love the idea of, you walking out of here today and maybe doing something, just one thing different. So for that, I say thank you very much. It's been really nice to meet you, and have a wonderful day, and all the best with the business.
Thank you so much. I guess we shall see in a year and
6 months.
in 6 months' time. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Good stuff. Thank you.